Welcome to Espresso Jams, short, concentrated, delicious conversations about business, life, and more. And now, here's your host, Joe Matz.
Welcome back to another edition of Espresso Jams, and welcome back, Lou and Sherri Everett. We are doing a series with Lou and Sherri of the Lou Everett Group on connecting, and they are business coaches, leadership coaches, and just so much more, and great people. So let me introduce Lou and Sherri, and go ahead, guys. Introduce yourselves. Tell us a little bit about yourselves for those who are picking up on episode number 5.
Yeah, thanks, Joe, again for having us. It's exciting. I don't think we've really been asked back this many times. So we've been asked back a couple times other places. So thank you for having us back. And I guess it was a good idea starting with a 5-factor situation to make us come back. So that's good. Oh yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, thank you. Yep. So I'm Sherri, and this is Lou. We are the Lou Everett Group. We are a husband-wife duo, and we are certified executive leadership and personal development coaches and corporate trainers. So what we love to do, we love to focus on leadership development and effective communication for small businesses. And what we also love to do and provide is the direct strategies to help build leaders from within, as well as prevent toxic work culture, and to provide compliance trainings, such as diversity and inclusion. So that's what we love to do.
Mm-hmm.
Great. And we've had some great conversations here recently, and I'm so excited to have you guys back on the show. If you haven't seen the other episodes, you can find them at my website. It's right up here, eaglebusinessservices.com. You go to Espresso Jams. We've got all the episodes there. You have to go back a little bit because it was episode 3 and 4 when we did the first two.
Right.
And now we're up into the 20s.
That's
So thanks for being here again, guys. And so I'm so excited. What are we going to talk about today?
Yeah, no, this is a kind of a continuation, right? We were talking up to this point. We've been talking about several factors that some of the world's greatest connectors use to connect with people to help cause them to listen to them, and we all want to be listened to, right? And so we've went over a few. The ones we've gone over. If it's okay, I can recap the first 4.
Sure.
So relationships, right? Who you know, insight, what you know. That was number 2. The third factor we talked about was success, what you have done. The last one we talked about was ability, what you can do. And today, I'd like to talk about the last one, sacrifice.
Sacrifice. Okay, so I'm very curious now. How does that relate to connecting with people?
Sure. Well, sacrifice is how you have lived, right? We've talked in the first episode, we were talking about stories. Relationships is about knowing the other person's story, asking them why they do what they do, right? So if you've made sacrifices in your own life or business, let's say you've suffered tragedy, right? You've overcome some painful obstacles. Many people are going to relate to you. And if you've done that, overcame them, but still remained humble about it, even though you suffer through those difficulties, others are going to admire you and they're going to want to connect with you. Let me give you an example. And every one of us has a story. And everyone has a different perspective of a story. In August of 2018, I found myself sitting in a hospital room next to the bed of my wife, Sherri. We were in the ICU burn center where Sherri was laying there virtually unconscious, not knowing if she was going to live or going to die. Doctors couldn't tell us whether she was going to live or going to die. All developed, starting from a cold to pneumonia, and developed into this rare disease. And we were told later, all because of the stressful, toxic work environment that she was encountering at a place of employment where she was working. At that moment, even though 10 days later she came out, and obviously she's here, she was healthy afterwards, thank goodness for the doctors there, and of course, through the powers that be, She was able to survive through this, and we were able to get through this together. And it was at that moment that we realized that our purpose and our passion for helping transform today's leaders by helping remove those types of environments by developing other people is what we should be doing full time with our life. You see, stories like that, Joe, stories of sacrifice, stories of difficulty, is what helps people admire you and connect with you to find out more.
Yeah, that's very inspiring, and it does speak directly to your why you do what you do, and the passion, the obvious passion that you put into doing what you do.
Right.
Yeah. So I'm glad to know that. I did not know that story. Yeah. Thank you for sharing.
You're welcome.
You're welcome. And you see, and it's the sacrifice. And we've, going through things like that, and we all have one. When we go through life's difficulties or business, and we neglect to share those things with other people. See, people need to hear the story. It's amazing how we can sit back, and we talked last time about Michael Jordan as an example of a famous basketball player, as we all know. But we can sit in our minds and think of all these different famous people that are successful today, and we'd like to learn from them.
Hmm.
But we never always know how they got there.
That's true. Yeah.
Right? But when we do find out, if they tell their story, all of a sudden, whether you like their movies or like what they do or not, we're connected to them and we have a different respect for their
Right.
sacrifice, right?
Because we
Big
know
factor.
how they got there. A lot of times we don't see the process. We don't see the years of practice, the years of training, the years of giving up things so that they could focus on what they were focusing on. We don't see that. What we see is the big success. That's like the overnight success that took 10 years, right?
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, they call that the avalanche effect. You look at the avalanche or the iceberg effect is what they call it.
Yeah.
The iceberg effect, we only see the top. We don't, but down below is where all the stuff happens
Right.
in order to really to rise up.
I
Yeah.
always like the duck analogy too. When you see the duck that's skating across the pond, but then underneath they're paddling like mad, just trying to keep afloat.
It looks so
and,
graceful from up here.
Yeah.
And they're
Yes.
working like madmen down below.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good. I like that. One of my favorite quotes is that excellent performances are preceded by equally excellent preparation.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Something like
I
that.
like it. No, I like it. Yeah. That's so
Yeah.
true.
So telling the story without and how do you tell the story in a business setting? Because the story you mentioned, it's very important, very powerful, but it's not business.
Sure. When you go into interview for any business, whether it's a job or anything else, right? They always ask what experience you have, and may not necessarily have to go into grave detail about it, but say, well, I've experienced a toxic environment, and I want to help prevent that from you. And if it opens up that conversation, then it opens up the conversation, or whatever it is that you may have to offer as a solution. There are other ways too, but just telling your story in spaces like this, Joe, having the ability, just being open about that story as to why it is you do what you do, and have that story be compelling, so that people connect with that, and understand the sacrifices that you've made, but yet being humble about it. Right? It's we tell a story about Sherri many a times with that situation, of course, and it doesn't. You have to do it in a way that doesn't like, okay, well, that's why we're great. No, that has nothing to do with us being great. It has everything to do with the sacrifices that helped us realize what we were called to do. And so it's just a matter of speaking that out. Maybe it's not. Don't wait until you're sitting in front of a client to tell that story.
Right. I like the
Have
idea
the clients
of
hear that story before their clients.
I like the idea of giving a hint and kind of opening the door a crack. And if they want more information, they'll open it further and ask you questions. So you're not
Hence connecting,
imposing.
right?
Connecting,
That's
right?
and there it is. Yeah, exactly. Opening that door, telling that story, having that sacrificial story of those difficulties that are real life.
Hmm.
They want to connect. That is the whole purpose of this factor.
Fantastic.
Just
And that's
sharing what that happens, within a work, especially in a work environment, of the highlights of it. Is the morale down?
hmm.
Is everybody getting kind of antsy with one another? Is the
Are people
productivity?
sick?
Yeah, are the people getting sick constantly, other than your cold? Can't figure out why productivity is so down. Is there high retention? So those are certain pinpoints on, if you're strictly stripping it down to business, that speaks
Yeah.
volumes.
And they
And
go, well, how would you know that?
yeah,
Well, we've
yeah.
experienced that.
Right, and we've experienced that.
Right. Oh, this is great stuff. Very rich. And if someone wants to know more, guys, how would they get in touch with you?
We'll go to our website, the www.louevergroup.com.
Yep. And we're on Facebook and
Yep.
LinkedIn, as also Instagram too.
Yep. Feel free to reach out. As a matter of fact, you reach out to us, and you go to our site. There's many things to look into. And if you reach out to us and connect with us, we will. We have something to give you. So connect with us and ask us for that free gift, and you'll get to spend some time with us.
Okay, great. And as you've seen, they're very easy to talk with, great experience and truly passionate about helping business owners. Very good, guys. Thank you very much. Bye
Thank
now.
you, Joe.
Thank you, Joe.
It's always nice having you.
Bye bye.
Bye.